Hello everyone, Wade from High-Tech Legion here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the DOKO streaming device. This is a device from NZXT, and what it does is it actually mirrors your PC with a little piece of software and a little piece of hardware. It does require a wired connection, so it doesn't have wireless on it, but I'm actually accomplishing that through a power line adapter. So if you're in a home that has a decent electrical wiring that can use a power line adapter, you definitely can use this device for it. One of the nice things about this is that you can use anything you want on it. So you can use Steam, you can use Origin, you can use Uplay, you can use Hulu, Netflix, anything your computer can do, this device can stream to your television. So what better thing to do, of course, to use the biggest screen in your house, to be able to play your games, to be able to stream your movies and things like that. It is limited to 30 FPS, so that is pretty typical of like a console type thing, but you can set your settings up for your games on your PC so that you can play them in the living room. It does have USB over IP as well, so it has 4 USB ports on it, and it will actually allow you to use any of those USB devices on that PC over IP. I'm actually using a Logitech keyboard here. This is the K400R, so this has a touchpad and a keyboard on it. For heavy gaming, obviously you would want to use something easier than a touchpad, but I'm more using this for a replacement for my HTPC. I had an HTPC right next to my television, and it was clunky and large and kind of took up a lot of room. One of the nice things about the DOKO is it's very small. I'm actually going to unplug it right now, and so you can take a quick look at it, and then we'll get into a little bit more detail with the device. So this is the DOKO itself. As you can see, it's very small. It has a little bit of rubberized coating, and you can pretty much hide it anywhere. So let's take a closer look at everything, and I'll tell you about the setup.
High-Tech Legion, hardware and software reviews. Gaming, gadgets, and mobile. Plus, a ton of opinions. Subscribe now.
So this is the DOKO up close. As you can see, this is the front. We got 4 USB ports on it. I actually have a wireless adapter in here for my keyboard and mouse combination. It does have a power button on it and a white light in the front here when it's plugged in. Along the side there's nothing on it, and then on the back you do have a power cable connection, which it comes with the power supply for it, an HDMI cable connection, so that's what you're going to hook it into your TV. In fact, I'm hooking it into my receiver so I can get full sound on it. You have an audio jack, and you also have your Ethernet port. So very small, very easy to hide anywhere pretty much in your entertainment center. So here we have a look at the DOKO after I hooked it back up. It's very simple to hook up. Just plug in the power, plug in your HDMI to your TV, and plug in your Ethernet. Like I said, I do have this running over a power over Ethernet adapter, which tend to work fairly well in my home. In some other homes they don't work at all, so keep that in mind. You do need a hardwired connection. So on this screen, this is the main screen. You can see the name of the device here. If you click on it, you should be able to rename it to whatever you want. Also have DOKO down here, and MirrorOp, which is who they've partnered with for the software portion of this. On the little gear here, you have an About tab. You have network information where you can set a static IP if you'd like. You can set the password for the device. You have saved computers. A system reset, so that's going to reset the thing to default, and updates, which is going to check for a firmware update on the DOKO servers. So other than that, all your computers that you have the software on will show up here in this screen. I only have it installed into one right now, so that's the only one that's showing up. But if we hit the play button on that one, it loads that up, and you get a second here where it loads the USB driver for the keyboard that I have plugged in. And we're there. it's done with that because I've connected to this before. So if we click on this screen again, it's actually going to disconnect us from it and bring us back to that other screen. So you can flip between multiple machines using this as well. So you can almost use it as a KVM switch to some degree. On here, you also have a gear on this screen, which gives you a volume control to turn off the audio at the source. So if you have speakers, it's not going to be blasting music through if you're playing a movie in that room as well. And frame sync, so that's going to help reduce some of the lag of trying to run this display over the network. You can also set the language and change the password for the computer. Right now I'm just going to hit cancel on this, and I'm going to hit X on this to put it down into the system tray. I actually have Steam running already, so I'm going to open up Steam here, and I want to pull up Defense Grid. So this is just a basic tower defense type game, and it should be able to play this okay because, like I said, it does stream at 30 frames per second. You will have some trouble trying to play something like Battlefield, a high performance game, a game that requires precision like Battlefield or Borderlands, for example. I tried Borderlands on it. It is playable. You get used to the input lag a little bit, but I'd much rather sit at my desk and play that game just because of that. But I think something like Defense Grid or maybe something like Hearthstone, you should be able to definitely play on this type of screen, so you get sort of a console experience a little bit. I mean, with Hearthstone, I was able to play that even over TeamViewer, so that has something to be said for it there. And so it's loading the Defense Grid game. As you can see, the display is pretty good. Got a little bit of lag input, but again, this is over a power line adapter, so if you actually have a hardwired connection, you're going to get better quality streaming than what I'm dealing with here. So quality of the streaming is great. If you can get rid of the input lag on it, this would be absolutely amazing. So for now, since I can see that the power line issues are having a little bit of trouble right now, I'm going to exit out of that game. But you definitely, the cool thing is, it's not limited to Steam. It's not limited to Origin. It's not limited to Uplay. It's not limited to any service. So you can, I mean, this is Windows 8, so you can go in here and you can pull up Hulu or you can pull up Netflix. They're all going to work. One of the things that you do have to consider, though, is that some of the overlays don't work yet. They are working on them. It is a known bug that they're working on to try to solve that problem. Simply put, turn off user account control. So a lot of you probably have already done that. I myself didn't do that initially, and I had to shut that off for this device to work. So you can go in and do a search for user account control in Windows 8 and change the user account control settings. I actually turned it down to never notify so that I knew that I wasn't going to have a problem with this device to be using it. This way, nothing pops up. You don't get any weird overlays on this. So overall, I really enjoyed playing with the Doku as a streaming device. I don't think it's quite ready for gaming necessarily, unless you're a really light gamer and you want to play things like Hearthstone, like I said, games that maybe run in windowed mode rather than using the full power of a PC. So definitely, if you want to use Netflix streaming or Hulu and things like that, you're going to have no problem. You want to play Flash games, you want to be able to surf the internet on your TV, you definitely have that opportunity. You want to be able to play YouTube videos and things like that. One of the only issues I have with this is that it's $100 for the Doko. There are other solutions out there, definitely. I in fact own a Roku and a Chromecast, and they both do the Hulu and the Netflix and the streaming and stuff like that. What they don't do is give you the full power of the PC, and that's where the DOKO is different. And that's where I think there is a lot of potential for it. I think with just some software tweaks and things, which I know they're working on, it's going to become even better, and it will become a powerful device and something that the more average population, you want to say, average user, would be happy to be able to have in their house. Right now, this is definitely an enthusiast type product as far as the complexity of it. The setup of the software is very simple. The installation of the device itself is very simple, but often there is troubleshooting, and often you don't get necessarily the best streaming speed. But again, like I said, tested over the power line adapter. They work pretty well in my house, but NZXT does recommend a full hardwired connection. I would love this to work over wireless AC, and it would be nice to see that in the future, and maybe they will have that with the future revision. One of the problems with wireless, though, of course, is that you get the more often dropped packets with it than a hardwired connection, which is part of the reason why they chose to go with a hardwired connection requirement for their first revision. And again, I think with some further optimization of their software and everything like that, they're going to have a very powerful device here. So I hope you enjoyed this quick overview of what the DOKO can do and what the potential is there for it. And definitely don't shy away from it just because it has a few issues, because I think NZXT is going to definitely work through them and make it a really viable device. One thing to consider definitely is if your network is very close to your where your entertainment center is, then it really is not an issue to run a hardwired connection. I live in a house with a couple different floors. It's kind of a weird shape, kind of a pain in the butt to run a hardwired connection from my office to my TV room. So for me, that doesn't really work, which is why I chose to go with the power line adapter and give that a shot. It does work. Probably doesn't work as well as it does on a hardwired connection, of course, because just like with wireless, power line adapters are finicky sometimes, especially depending on what's kind of power usage is being used on your circuits. So you want to use it for an HDPC. It definitely has that potential, so that you don't have to build a separate computer and have that next to that ugly thing next to your TV. But right now, it's not quite there for gaming, and hopefully it will be in the future. Good luck to NZXT, and I hope you continue to watch the High Tech Legion channel. So take care.